know me, my name is Monica Taylor, and I am a vintage inspired crafter. So what does that mean, vintage inspired? Well, it means I like to create old school designs. I don't necessarily like the cutesy designs. If you guys know me, you know I like grunge, I like vintage, and I like to incorporate those to make cards from the past. And when I say cards from the past, cards that inspire us from the past. I do collect vintage ephemera as well, and I do create digital images and sets, and I offer those in my shop. So I did send out a link for the class an hour before, and that also did have a coupon code. So if you are not part of my Backstage Pass, and I think all of you that are on right now are part of the Backstage Pass, if you guys can just put a little shout out for that in the chat and let people know that aren't part of the Backstage Pass what a great deal it is. I am offering 10% off through the weekend to join, and it is a year-long membership where you'll have access to all my digitals in the shop. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and I do extras for the Backstage Pass. Been a little light on the extras recently just because of some medical issues that I've been having, but I hope to kind of get back into that as well. All right, so hello Melody, welcome, welcome. So let me go ahead and switch cameras and we will get started. Let's see. All right, let me know if you guys can see my messy desk. Okay, perfect. All right, let me go ahead and pull this down, and on my desk, you'll see a lot of the designs that I've been playing with. These are what I like to call my prototypes, right? When I am coming up with my ideas, I tend to play. A lot of the items that we'll be using today are from the kit, but we're not going to be using everything. I wanted to give you guys extras so you can continue with your Halloween crafting. So for instance, you did get an ephemera package here with lots of cool items. We may or may not use that. And then you also did get a paper pack. We may or may not use that as well. But there's just some great items in the set. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. For those of you that bought the set, hopefully you enjoyed everything that you got. If you did not buy the set, there are individual pieces of the set still in the shop. So if you wanted to just get the ephemera pieces or the paper or the stencil or the die cut, there are several items individually available, just not a complete set anymore. So let's go ahead and kind of talk about what we're going to be doing. So the homework that I talked about earlier, hopefully you guys did your homework. I know some of you are still working on it, but it was using, let me just grab it here. It was using this stencil. And when I saw this stencil, you know, it looks like a panel, which is kind of what I wanted to use it for. But when you actually cut it out, it cuts out the individual pieces and the numbers. So you end up with items like this, which of course are fabulous. You can use these on your own. But I really wanted it to be a panel. So I did do a video for you showing you how to create the panel. So I'm not going to go through that. There is drawing time involved with that. And I didn't necessarily want to waste our time doing that. So when you make the panel, this is what you're going to end up with. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully you all have done your homework to create this. And then part of the digitals that I sent you had some of the crystal ball, it had the fortune teller, and of course you got some paper dolls. Now some of the extra embellishments I added along the way, you didn't necessarily get those, but what I would say is dig into your stash and see what you got. And you can always embellish your card as much or as little as you want. So this is one of the cards we'll be making. We're also going to be making this set here, or this card. It's not a set, it's a card. And it's on black cardstock. And I am going to put a white paper with a sentiment in here as well. But this is where we're going to actually be doing some masking. And I know I said in one of my emails, if you did not have the moon. I do have the moon available in the shop, and it's the small one. This is the one that's available in the shop. So if you don't have a moon stencil, it is available, but you don't necessarily have to do that, right? So what you can do is you can just get a circle die and use that for your masking. You won't necessarily have all the little texture inside, but that's okay. You don't necessarily need to have that for a big moon. So the circle is about 2 inches. So if you have a 2-inch circle, that will work just as well. So that's what we'll be playing with. And then, of course, there is a stamp set around here somewhere. See, I've already lost my stuff. We're going to be playing with this stamp set here, which has the RIP for rest in peace. Has some fun little sentiments as well. And then you have this candle. And I think this candle is great. One of the reasons I like this set is not only can it work for Halloween, but it could work for Christmas as well. These could easily be Christmas books or not Christmas or Halloween at all. It's a great little set, and it is giving you lots of opportunities. This piece here in your kit, you would have gotten a yellow sheet, and this is for masking. So I just want you to be aware of what that is for. All right. And let's see, what else do we have? What else? You also got a big stencil in your kit. And I think there's some of these still available. I think this is my favorite. I love how big this is because it gives you lots of opportunities for crafting. You can go big, you can go small. Just reading some of the comments here. Robin, yep, my kits, I do try to be very generous, lots of goodies, absolutely. And I'm just reading the messages. I've learned that I sell out of my kits relatively quickly, so I do try to give some of my regulars a heads up when the kit is going to go on. I even sent, I think Elizabeth asked me to send out a text when I put it in the shop because she wanted to make sure you get one. I do fund all of my kits, so I've started kind of doing pre-orders to get an idea of how many people want the kits. I did just put in a big order for Christmas. So may or may not be doing a Christmas kit, but I will be having some fun items that I'll be crafting with for Christmas as well. So we'll see, but I'll certainly keep you guys posted if I do end up putting together a Christmas kit. But this is one of my favorite items, has alchemy, and I love script, and I'm going to be using solar paste. You can use this stencil with inks. You can also do it with texture paste, but this is what I'll be using when we start crafting. And that will be for the alchemy along with the bottles that I gave you in your printables in this fun little bone. So lots of things you can do with that stencil. All right, and then finally, I did give you some little squares. Let's see if I can find them in my desk here. These are just, let's see if we can pull some of these out. These are, yeah, 1.5 by 1.5 squares, and they're just a variety of different scrap paper that I had around. So this was just an idea I had for you guys to use up some of your scrap paper. Don't throw it away, cut it into little squares, and then you can make collage backgrounds. Now, if you didn't get the kit, of course, you can do this with any of your paper. If you did get the kit and you don't want to use what I gave you, you can certainly use some of the paper that came in the kit. So lots of options with that. And then for this, I gave you a 31 in your kit, and then I gave you some paper dolls, and then I also gave you some of these tapes. So when we start to do this, you can also use your ephemera. You don't have to use a paper doll, guys. You can use some of this ephemera that came in your kit. Let's just take a little peeky peek at what we got here. I haven't even opened my ephemera here. So this is your Happy Halloween ephemera, and as you can see, you've got lots of choices. You can go kind of dark if you wanted to. This one is fabulous. Look at that. I might use that on my card. Really, really fun. And got some sentiments in here. You've got You've got this little peace sign. Delina, let's see. They are, squares are 1.5 by 1.5. Send me an email after the video if you'd like, and I can put some in the mail for you. I always try to be careful, so I apologize for that. Let me, yeah, so I apologize for that, Delina. So we'll rectify that if we need to. But yeah, so your kit, you'll have, Cordelia, seriously, no squares? Okay, wow, I really dropped the ball on that one, didn't I? All right, ladies, send me an email afterwards and I'll get some in the mail to you along with the little extra for my flubber, for my mess up. But yeah, so hopefully you guys got you guys are making me doubt myself. Okay, you found them. Delina, take another look. Maybe yours are in there as well, Cordelia. All right, so yeah, so lots of choices if you don't want to use your paper doll for this background here. And I will show you also, let me just put this aside. I will show you also, if you don't necessarily want to do the squares, you can do strips. So maybe we'll do that as well. All right, so does anybody have any questions about what we're going to be doing today? Mine were hiding in between the pieces. Yeah, like I said, Tina, thank you. I've tried to be super, super careful about when I pack the items, and I even did an assembly line. So I appreciate the fact that you guys are going through it. And shame on you guys. I told you guys to go through your kit. I even did a video telling you guys to check to see if I missed anything because I wanted you to have it for the class. But yeah, but we can make good on that. If the only thing, the paper dolls were just kidding. If what I was going to say here, if you don't have the squares, I'll show you an alternate way with just regular scroll with regular paper. All right. So let's get going. So I thought we would go ahead and start with this. As you can see, I already did put together some collages, and they were just so easy to put together when I was playing. I thought this will make a very cute card. And now all I have to do, for me at least, is add my little character, put my little sentiment, and I'm good to go. But let's go ahead and put one of these together for us. So you're going to need your paper, you're going to need your tape, your 31, and then either a paper doll or the ephemera that I gave you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a 4 1/4 by 5.5, and then I'll run it through the die machine. I do like it to be somewhat organic when I'm doing it, and that's why I tend to make it a little bit bigger than the actual card. So I can actually just trim it down a bit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, rather than use all my little squares, you guys can use your squares, and it's very simple. What I would recommend before you actually start gluing them down, though, and let's see here. The envelope was in your hand, you guys. All right, so before you add your squares to your paper, add some ink. I like this because it does add some shadow to it. So what I would say is do that as you go along. So just grab your squares, and figure out which one you want to use. And I think you should fit 3 and 4 is the way that I figured it. I like to use, of course, different paper. I think I gave you guys all different squares. So you can do that as well. Now, if you have washi tape, I did not give you guys any washi tape, but if you have washi tape, I'm going to be incorporating washi tape into my card. So if you want to grab some from your stash, that's always a fun idea. All right, so you guys get the idea with the squares, right? So just kind of keep going along, adding your ink, and then gluing them to your paper. Very, very simple. I wanted to show you another thing you can do as well using your paper. So let's just open up our paper here and see what we got. All right. So some fabulous paper in here. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, I said these squares are, what did I say they were? They were 2.5 by 2.5, I think is what I said, right? So if you want to, this is 4.25 by 5.5 Cordelia, and we're going to trim it down. But I like to start out with 4.25 by 5.5, so you can have perfect alignment. All right, so I'm pulling out some of my paper, and I'm going to do, I'm going to just cut a strip that's 1.5 inches. All right, so here's your 1, here's your 1/2. So let's just go ahead and just give this a chop. All right. And what I want to do here is I'm going to create strips. So instead of creating squares, if that is just, you know, a little bit redundant for you, what you can do is just do strips. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. Squares are great. Strips are great. So, you know, if you don't necessarily have the time to glue down panels, strips work just as well. All right. So does that make sense, guys? You have a couple of options where you can do your squares, you can do your strips, all sorts of different options for your panel background. Let me know if you have any questions. The strips are 1.5, Melody. Just like your squares, we're just not cutting them into squares. We're just doing strips of 1.5. And then, of course, you know, for your color combination, you don't want to necessarily put black cardstock next to black cardstock, so you can mix it up a little bit, right? So the next one needs to not be black, it needs to be a lighter color. So let me see what else I have in this paper stash, and that one looks pretty good. I think I'll actually do this on top. All right, so it ended up being just 4 strips, really, really easy. Now, if you wanted to get fancy, because I know some of you guys are fancy people, you could take your strips, cut them long ways, right? And you could do them like this. So what you would do essentially is, you know, figure out your spacing, and then you would just weave it inside out. Now that's going to take a little bit more coordination, of course. So if you do decide to do the weave, just keep in mind you're going to have to do some coordination with that. The paper is thin enough where you could certainly do a weave. You just have to remember that you're going to have to be gluing along the way. For me, that's just a little bit too much work. The idea of the strips is to make it easier, not harder. And then also, you know, if you didn't want to do the weave, you can add little, you know, little squares along the way. So maybe we'll do that. All right. So is everybody good? Does everybody know what they're doing? I'm going to take my strips. I'm going to add my ink just to get rid of that white space. Looking for the thumbs up, guys. Is everybody good? Has anybody stuck? Is everybody working? Saying, Monica, I'm working. I don't need to give a thumbs up. All good. Very good, Robin. Thank you. All right. I'm using walnut stain. I know in a few of my other videos I've said I lost my walnut stain, but I found my walnut stain, so now I get to use it again. I had been using the black one. What is that? I always forget this. Scorched Timber. Scorched Timber is becoming my new favorite, I think. Really, really like it. Okay, so now I've got all of my paper with my ink. Just want to make sure I get my paper lined up. All right, so now I'm ready to add my glue. Now, when you do this, keep in mind the bottom portion might not, you might, what do I want to say here? Your bottom portion, you may not use the full strip, but we're going to trim this card anyway. So when you're starting, if you want to, try to even it out, I would say when you glue it down, just glue it a little bit over the edge. It's only if you're doing the strips. If you're doing the squares, you should be good to go. But just a little idea. And it's not a big deal if they don't match in size completely. I mean, at least not for me, right? Really not into perfection, don't need to be, so I don't worry about it. All right. And then if you didn't catch that, you don't necessarily have to put your glue all the way to the edge like I did. So keep that in mind. And my glue has movement, so I am kind of, like I said, pushing it over the edge just a bit. And then I'll go with my next color. Which is going to not be the black. Okay. And then the next color. I probably do, Robin. Yeah, maybe we'll incorporate that. That's a good observation. Yeah, I probably do. So maybe we'll do that. Okay. And then this last piece. All right. And if you want to, not go right up against the seam, you can overlap it. This paper is thin enough where you can do some overlapping if you need to. I mean, I love working with heavy cardstock, but sometimes that lighter paper is great too. So that glue gives me a movement time. I love that wet glue. All right. Perfect. So let's just give that a minute here. How's everybody doing? So are some of you doing the actual squares, or are you doing the strips? Like I said, the strips are a little bit faster, but the squares are fun too. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut this. And you can use your paper trimmer if you want to. You can just use scissors. I'm actually going to put this through the die machine. Strips because you're slow, Cordelia. Yeah, I mean, the strips are great because you can move a lot faster, right? Delina, you are an overachiever, lady. You did one strip, you did one squares. That's awesome. Okay, so this is what we have. And like Robin said, we did end up with some extra squares. So if you wanted to, add your squares, you can. I'm not going to, but you can certainly, or add them to your stash of squares, right? Okay, so now that you have your paper, like I said, if you have washi tape, you can easily incorporate washi tape into your design. So this is some of my old Halloween washi tape from Tim Holtz, and it's the perfect color, right? It's got the orange, it's got the black. So if I wanted to cover my seams, you know, I can surely do that. That's pretty easy, right? And then if I wanted to use a thinner one, I prefer the thinner ones because I don't want to take away from the design. You can do that as well. And then let's see here. I think, what else do I have going on here? Kind of poison one. I love that skeleton though. I don't want to cover too much of him. I think I will actually, if I can do this without messing it up, I think I'm going to put this thinner one down here so I don't take away from that skeleton, which is pretty cool. And then I'll put this one here. And then it just gives you another layer of design, right? So Tina's asking, can the card orientation? Yeah, either way, Tina. You can go either way. Just make sure when you're cutting your paper, girl, you cut it according to the design you're gonna go. So absolutely. All right, so I'm just folding this over real quickly here. And then I'm going to run to my die cut machine because what I want to do is I want to have a smaller piece. So just give me a second here. If you have a die cut, you know, a rectangular die cut that you want to cut, you can certainly cut that out as well. All right, so I used this stitch die to trim mine, and let me show you what I did here. You know, the paper is a little bit thicker, so you may have to pull out your scissors, which, you know, isn't a big deal. Sometimes we all need a little help, right? And sometimes our dies need a little help, but I want to be kind of strategic because I don't want to, I want to save that frame. So let's see if I can save that frame here. Let's see. I probably should have gone through the die machine a few times, but I was rushing to get back to you all. But I want to save this frame because I might be able to get another card out of it. Let's see. All right, so there we go. So I'm just helping it along, giving it a helping hand here. But I think if you put a shim, you know, in your machine, when you're running it through the die cut machine, when you're using, you know, heavier cardstock, that will get the job done as well. All right. Okay, excellent. Okay, let's see here. So Tina says using 2 strips from the paper pack and they work perfect. Cordelia, you can cut it down to whatever size you want. I am going to mat it on black cardstock. This is actually cut down to 5 by 3.5. So if you want to copy what I'm doing, this is 5 by 3.5, and then I'm going to add some layers behind it. As you can see here, I put a black layer and then I put cardstock on the other side, and that's what we're going to use this baby for, I think, if we can figure that out. So yeah, so that's what I cut it down to. But before I actually move on, I did add some of my tape. So this is a good time once you cut it down to add some tape, or not, right? You don't have to. I just think it makes a good visual, add in some of this tape that I gave you. All right, so I'm just going to add a couple pieces here. Now, if you want to make your own vintage tape, I do have a video out there that demonstrates on how I made these. So, you know, be sure to check that out if you want to figure out how that's done. And then I'm just adding some more ink around the edge. And doesn't that make a fabulous background? Look at that. All right. So I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to add this onto black cardstock for a frame. And I'm going to cut it down to, well, I'm not going to even cut it down yet. I'm going to go ahead and glue it first, and then we'll cut it down. How's that? How's everybody doing? Any questions? Am I going too fast? Is everybody good? All right. So let's just add this piece here. All right. And then the way that I trim this down, I have a guillotine trimmer, but just usually for my borders, I like to have a 1/4 of an inch border. So just, you know, just get your trimmer. I'm lining up the edge of the paper. And then I'm cutting based off of that. And that's how I know I can get a you know, a border that matches. Hopefully that makes sense. And this isn't, you know, quite a 1/4 of an inch. It's a little bit smaller, but I want to add, ooh, looks like trimmer needs to be sharpened. I want to add another layer, so that's why I'm doing it just a little smaller. There we go. Okay, so just enough. And it looks like my paper shifted there. No problem. All right, so here's what I have so far, guys. Now, I saved this because I wanted to see if I could be clever and add that, and I can. So look at this. So if you want to, if you trimmed it down, you have just enough, right, to add it back onto your card. So you could easily do that. And then keep in mind, it's going to cover your whole card, though. So kind of keep that in mind. You don't have to do that. You can go right to your card base if you wanted to do that. In fact, let me get my card base out here. But, you know, this is going to cover your whole card. So let's do that first. If you decide you want to use this frame, let's glue this first. If you don't want to, there's a couple ways you can go here. You can glue this right to your card base. You can add some of your designer paper, you know, on the back. There's lots of ways you can go here. So you get to choose what you want to do. Okay. Sometimes these little frames get wasted, and I think, gosh, it's so fantastic. I really don't want to waste it. So let's see if we can use it up here. All right. Yes, Robin, you have to make a decision. Now, you can copy me if you want to. I have no problem with that. But, you know, sometimes you guys have good ideas. So if you have a better idea than I do, by all means, go for it. All right, so let's, and then you see how that just kind of pops right in. And you can even make this dimensional if you wanted to. I'm not going to, but you could, right? All right, so then let's go ahead and add our glue. Robin, if you're using this glue, hopefully you have a window that's open, because the fumes of the glue can get to you. The glue smells great. I love it. All right. So there you go. So there's your first card, guys. Pretty clever, right? Now from here, of course, you can add your 31 that we cut out. And mine's around here somewhere. What I try to do ahead of time when I'm cutting numbers is I cut numbers that I know I'm going to use, and then I just separate them. So that way when I need a 31 or I need, something, I don't have to go back and cut one number. So let's see here. Okay. So my 31 can go here, right? And then you can decide if you want to do a paper doll or if you want to do one of the ephemera pieces. I think I'm going to use an ephemera piece. Gosh, she's fabulous, isn't she? I love her. He's pretty clever as well. Kind of matches the whole skeleton thing, right? Ooh, that's a good one too, guys. Look at that one. I think I'm going to use that one. Fantastic. All right, so I'm going to use this for my card, but like I said, you can use a paper doll, you can use ephemera, and of course I've got a lot of white going on, so I'm going to just add some of my walnut stain to this just to dull it up a little bit. I don't have to necessarily color the whole thing, but we're just going to dull it up a bit. All right. And then we're going to glue this puppy on. Should I give some dimension? Nah, I think I'll just glue him right on. You could add some dimension if you wanted to with little pop-up stickers if you wanted. But we're going flat. So let's put him right there. All right. And then I'll put my 31 right there. And that's going to be your first card, guys. Does anybody have a question before we move on? Because we're going to move on. 31. Okay. So here we go. There's my 31. And there's card 1. Hope you guys like it. All right, so let's move on to card 2. And as I make a decision on what card 2 is going to be, just let me know if you have any questions along the way. All right, so what's that one? Let's go ahead and do this one next. Hey, Debbie, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Yeah, this is getting recorded. And as soon as the class is over and I get it downloaded, I will be sending it out to everybody. So absolutely, you can catch it on the replay. Feel better, girl. All right, so let's go with this one. This one, there is some masking involved and your moon. So like I said, if you don't have the moon stencil, you can just use a circle die. Use what you have. If you don't have a circle die, cut out a circle from maybe a small cup or something. I mean, anything that's going to give you a circle, you can just trace it and move on. And then on your small stencil, you don't even have to use the second part if you don't want to. You can just use the moon. So the first thing we need to do is, what's the first thing we need to do? We probably need to stamp this, I'm thinking. All right, so let's get out our paper that we're going to stamp on, and we need to cut this down. So you can cut this down to this this tends to be my go-to for my cut down. So this is 3.5, approximately 3.5 by 5. So I'm going to just do that after I've got all of my inking on. But I want to make sure that when I'm stamping this, I stamp within my border, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get our stamping out. You can stamp with an acrylic block. You can stamp with a MISTI. You can stamp with whatever you have. Okay, so I'm using my MISTI, my dirty MISTI. And it's going to go, I don't know, somewhere around there. Hopefully that makes sense. And going to use just black ink, nothing fancy. Just some black ink. And we're going to do a little stamp here. And you might need to do it a couple times. That's why I really love using the MISTI for this. Let's do one more for good measure. How's that? Okay. And then you're going to need to get out your masking paper because you're going to need to stamp on this fella. Hopefully you guys have all used masking tape before for card making. And it doesn't even have to be dark, just enough where you can trim around it. Okay, so that is stamped out. Put my ink away. And then you're going to need to fussy cut this, y'all. So let's put this aside. And let me find my scissors. Once we start crafting, we tend to lose things, don't we? All right, here's my scissors. And I'm going to have to fussy cut around this. Now, as you can see on this, you've got grass and whatnot, but you don't necessarily need to worry about the grass. Just focus on your sharp edges, or your sharp lines, and cut right on the line. Don't leave any white spot. Cut right on the line. Okay. There we go. Is everybody good? Just if you have any questions, go ahead and just pop them right into the chat. I am monitoring it as I fussy cut my tombstones. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know I do my 7 days of Halloween series, and that's going to start tomorrow. So I have 7 videos for you. Typically I use Tim Holtz product for my 7 days of Halloween, as I am a big fan. So yeah, that's going to start tomorrow. And I did give a sneak peek of one of them, that owl that lights up, and that'll be the first video. All right. Okay, so now that you've got this stamped and you want to mask it, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to mask your moon. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can do this, right? The easiest way, I think, is just to get some double-sided tape that comes off easily, right? So let me, if you don't have double-sided tape, this blue masking tape works really well. It's not very tacky, which is what you want, right? But we just want to be able to have it stay in place. You can certainly hold it down, but I like a little help. We can all use a little help sometimes, right? So I'm going to just kind of put that right there. And then you've got to make some decisions here, people. So more decisions, Robin. You got to decide what colors you're going to use. Now, of course, your moon is going to be your yellow, right? Here I went more of a green tone, and then I used the black, which is my scorched timber. So we're gonna use this guy, but I think I'm gonna use the oxide. So let me grab my colors here. So let's, I don't know, scorched timber or black soot. One of the dark ones is what you're gonna want. And then let's see what else I've got that I can play with. So here's our scorched timber. And then purples are good too for nights. Oranges are kind of eerie, right? I mean, just play with your colors. Red might be kind of cool. Maybe a rusty hinge. Let me look at my other colors. Now, I'm using, like I said, I'm using the oxides. And if you're the type of person that, you know, doesn't know what combination to use, if you want to just hold tight here. Yeah, my tombstone mask is already on there, Delina, because we're going to start coloring. So let me see here. I can kind of show you what I'm going to be using. And if you want, but I know not everybody has the same colors. That's why I'm kind of saying, you know, well, you got to kind of use what you have. Faded jeans is always a great one for a night sky. And then if you want to add some purplish, right, this Victorian velvet is beautiful as well. So let's just see what we can do. All right. If it doesn't work out, you get another piece of paper and you start again. No harm, no foul. Okay. So what should we start with? Let's start with, I don't know. Let's start with this Victorian velvet. That's probably the wrong sponge to use, but that's okay. And then, you know, just kind of a light hand. The oxides blend very well. So even though it looks kind of unblended, don't worry about it because we're going to blend it up. So I like the purples because it gives us kind of an eerie effect. And then we're going to come in around it. So let me get some more. Get some more colors going here. All right, so we said we're going to do a blue and a brown. So there's that, and there's a blue, and there's a black. All right. So let's try this one next. I'll come in with my rust. And again, come in slow if you're not sure about the colors. I mean, I'm just kind of making it up as I go along because we're going to blend it in. Sometimes you just have to experiment, I think, you know, rather than everybody just tell you. I don't have anyone telling me what colors to do. I just kind of see what I think might make a good eerie sky, and I go with it. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, then I don't do that again. Just don't do that one again, right? Okay, so now we're going to come in. That's more of the shadow that you're going to want to get, right? The eeriness of the night. Now we're going to come in with some darker colors. I guess I need to take this off first. Okay, so now I'm coming in with faded jeans, which is always a great one for Halloween. And I'm going to come in, I'm just going to come in on the edging with this. And you see it's dark. I just inked up my ink pads. So, whew, that is some dark blue, isn't it? Okay. And then I think I'm going to get a little bit more purple over here. Okay. And then let's just go ahead and just do an all-around blend. So for this, don't use your dark blue for your blend. I would say for your all-around blend, pick your lightest color, all right? Or no color at all, right? Maybe one of these ink blenders didn't have a lot of ink left over, but this is where I'm going to come in really heavy-handed, and I'm going to do my blending. Okay. And this is where I'm trying to just get rid of the sharp edges, trying to get my colors to work. Just really pushing down really, really hard because I want this to blend. Oxides blend it very well. And that's why I like to use those for my backgrounds. And that's just a little bit too harsh, so I'm going to come in with a little bit more of this rusty hinge. And then let's just blend this a little bit more, see what we can do. You see how it softens up when you do your blending? It's just really, really nice. Kind of a weird combination, y'all, but again, I would say for backgrounds, just bring out your oxides and see what works. It's got some good blending going on, right? Got that aura around the moon. All right, now for your moon, you want to use yellow. Yellow, yellow, yellow. I'm going to pull out fossilized amber and my scattered straw because I want to show you what I'm going to do. So I've got these tiny blending tools, and I want to say, Melody, did you send these to me? I know somebody sent these to me. Hey, Rhonda. Yeah, we're going to have a replay, though, so you can catch the first card on the replay, no problem. All right. And then this is, I like to use small items to go around the moon, just to kind of give you, some glow. Okay, so just more on the stencil, less on the card, because you're just looking for a glow. If that makes sense. Okay, and that was scattered straw. And then if you want to, you don't have to. If you have, some of these distress spritz, you can add some of this, right? Just to give it a little bit of, I don't know, eeriness, I guess. Absolutely not necessary, but why not, right? Okay, and then now for the reveal. All right, this is my favorite part, you guys. See what I can find here. Is everybody good? Does anybody have any questions? Just do a little cleanup here. All right. I'm going to pull this off. Now we're going to add some yellow to this moon, so don't fret. Okay. Look at that. Pretty cool, huh? So a little different from the background. Here was more of a green. This is more of a, I don't know, grayish maybe, but still a great Halloween background, right? So at this point is where you want to go ahead and we want to put our black. Now keep in mind, we are going to trim this down. So when you're adding your black, see if I can find an ink here. This is what creates the shadow, and this is awesome. Watch this. Let's see if maybe we cannot dirty my moon here. Look at how this is going to create a shadow. Just love it. Just love it. And, you know, be careful. You don't want to get on your tombstone. Ah, look it. I did it when it was upside down, but I love that. If you sprayed it and your moon has some spritz on it, turn it over and add it to your moon. I love that. Look at that. That was by accident, you guys. See, crafting accidents sometimes work out. This is the scorched timber that I'm coming in with, which gives it a real nice frame. All right, so, and then, you know, if you feel like you need to do some more blending, you can always come in again with your lighter one. Just blend it up a little bit if you need to. Okay, so is everybody good? Any questions? I'm going to run and cut this down, and I will be right back. All right, so here is what we cut down using my little stitched die that I have. And this is kind of what our base looks like. Now, I like to come in yeah, Melody, if it messes up, you have a couple choices. You carry on or you start over. Again, it's, you know, these aren't Mona Lisas. They don't have to be perfect. Sometimes I think we get caught up in our own head about perfection. This is just all about fun. All right, so I'm just taking my scorched timber and I'm edging the sides. And this is the ink I'm using. Whenever I'm just edging the sides, I always use ink. For my backgrounds, I prefer the oxides. All right, so is everybody good? I'm going to go ahead and color my moon. And for that, I'm going to use the fossilized amber. So this is a little bit more of a controlled color. So I'm still using my small little blenders here. They're so cute. This is actually the first time I'm using them. And I'm just coming in. You know, I should have added that. No big deal, right? Let's just see what we got here. Oh, look at that. So kind of cool. Let's just continue to carry on. Kind of a light hand. And then I'll come in with this and be a little bit more heavy-handed. See if I can put that back. So you get some of the darkness, right? And so you're going to have that glow on the outside. So if you go, you know, outside of the moon a little bit, not a big deal, but just be careful. Be careful because you don't have your mask on anymore. So don't color up your tombstones. But yeah, very, very simple. Doesn't have to be perfection. All right, so there's our moon. And you know, if you feel like you need a little bit more aura, a little bit more glow, come on the outside. Right? This one you can come outside of the lines because you're looking for that aura. Okay, and that was scattered straw. All right, so once we have this going on, more choices. I framed mine. We're going to color these up in just a minute. But, you know, I put mine on black cardstock. I don't think this is big enough, though. This is my 7. Let's see, what do I have here that we can put on the... Well, maybe we'll just frame it and put it on a white card base. Okay, so I think black looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this down here, and then we're going to trim it. All right. Put my moon away. And the moon, you guys, if you don't have the moon, I highly recommend getting the moon because it not only works for Halloween, but it works for Christmas as well. It's a great addition. Okay, and then, you know, you're going to want to think of a sentiment inside of your kit. Getting ahead of myself because we're going to color this. But start thinking about your sentiment, right? So on your stamp kit, your stamps, here's this one. Oh, there it is. On your stamp, you have a few sentiments. Let's see what they say. So this says, I was hoping for a pyramid. I don't get it. I told you I was sick. That's not bad. I knew that guillotine was a bad idea. And then paper cuts can bleed more than you think. So you got a few choices here. If you don't like any of those, you have some of those little, see, my desk is getting messy here. You have some of those little, hold on a second. Just looking for my sentiments here, somewhere around here. Ah, there they are. All right, inside of your printables, you have some sentiments that you could use. if you don't, you know, use what you got. Use what you got. Foolish mortals. That's a good one, right? Parlor game, poison, collector of curiosities. Now, if these choices don't float your boat, in the shop, I do have a whole set that you can purchase. So, you know, you have more options. Don't sweat it if it's not anything you don't like. But there are more options, and that's what I'm looking for right now. That's my little bag of options. Maybe not. All right. So yeah. So figure out what sentiment you have. I can't find my other options. I might just hold off on my sentiment till I find what I want to use. So okay. Now, as a twist, but you don't have to. I know I gave you guys a bug set. Now I have the Tim Holtz bug set, but of course I couldn't put that in the kit or else it would be a lot more expensive. But I did give you guys some bugs. If you wanted to stamp a bug off the side, you can do that. I'm not going to do that, but that's just another option you can have. I'm going to actually color this up. You can use inks. You can use pencils. I'm trying to remember what I used on my original one. I think I used Copics on mine. But you can use Copics. Lots of things you can do. So let me trim this down first. And again, I'm just using the side of the paper. So it's 110. Doing a time check here. So we're still good. The next two cards are going to take a little longer. So we're going to have to move along. Okay. So there's that. And then if you want to, of course, you know, put it on more cardstock, you can. If you want to put it right to paper, you can. Let's see. You want to put, you know, a background paper. I mean, look at this one, the moons. That would be really cool, actually. That would be kind of cool, huh? Or what else do we have here? Skeletons. That doesn't quite work because I trimmed that already. Let's see what else I got. Oh, maybe it's dark. Maybe I'll do that. I like that. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so 4 1/4, but I'm gonna just do so little less than 4 1/4, and then 5 1/2, little less than 5 1/2, just so I have a little bit of a border. Okay, and I'm gonna put this on. Okay. And then I've got, if you don't want ink on your card, have something underneath it, right? Because we've been playing with ink, so your white cardstock can get messy. Your fingers can make it messy too, so be careful. All right, so see, it just gives me just a little bit of a border, which is what I want. Move that over just a bit. Yeah, perfect. All right. Yeah, that's a good idea, Cordelia, because ordinarily I don't mind the grunge, but on the white cardstock. I don't necessarily want it. All right, and then I'm just adding that. I just got a little bit of a border. All right, now from here, I'm going to use a paper doll. You guys have paper dolls. Excuse the face. I'm bending under my desk. And got the corner of my face there. Got a bag of paper dolls. So I'm going to dig into my bag of paper dolls and see what I can use here. It's got to be a smaller one, I think. It could be a bigger one, I guess, right? Probably a single, not a double. So let's see. There we go. I like him. All right, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay. But then I got to color this. So let's, I'm going to get my Copic markers. But if you don't have Copic markers, remember, you can color these up with your ink. You can color them up with pencils. There's lots of choices for coloring, right? So I'm just going to use some gray here. And I'm just going to edge it up just a bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe create some shadows. Right? Go off the edge just a little bit there. Just to cover up that white. See, I should have cut closer to my masking, but that's okay. And then we'll just add some of the shadow here. And then I'll come in with a lighter. Your lighter one is what you use for blending. Just kind of go all over it. I don't have a lot of Copic markers. I have some of the basic colors. Grays for me are certainly a must. But that's just because of the type of crafter I am. And it looks like this one needs to be re-inked. Okay, so that's how I'm doing for my tombstones, guys. I'm not doing a lot, just enough to take away the white, because we don't want white. Okay, so how's everybody doing? Just do a check here. Hopefully everybody's doing well. We are almost done with our second card. I'm going to add just some ink to my paper doll, because again, I don't like the white showing through. Not necessary, but that's just a me thing. And then I'm going to put my little character there. Okay. Let's see. He's going to be resting on that tombstone, so it's that little goobly goop I got going on there. What is that? Ugh, it's that piece I just pulled off. All right. So here's my little guy. And we need something there. I'm going to do just a quick cleanup as you guys catch up, because I need to find something. All right. Just doing a quick clean of my desk, looking for stuff. See, I shouldn't pile. It's part of the problem. There. All right. So this is what I was talking about earlier. If you want more selection other than what I gave you, you can order these in the shop. and you're going to get a lot more of a selection. I'm going to go with needs a bat or a crow. And yeah. I also have, look in your ephemera box. I don't know exactly what's in there, but I think I have a crow because I was cleaning up earlier. Somewhere around here. Let me see what I got. See, look at, oh, there we go. Okay, so on my desk, I've got this little bat coming out of the Tim Holtz, so I'm going to put that there. I do have some little ephemera in my shop too, but again, just go into your stash, see what you can find. If you had a crow, can maybe go on top of your tombstone. So some choices, right? Okay. So I'm going to put this little bat here. And this was just on my desk. I'm surprised that I found it. And then for my October 31st, put that there. It could go down here. It could go, I think I'm going to put it down here. Or should I put it up there? I can't decide. Should it go on top or on the bottom? Can't decide. Can't decide. I better decide. I got my glue going on. All right, let's go down here. All right. And that is card number 2, guys. So here are the 2 cards we've made so far. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the class. We are halfway through. And let's move on to card number 3. What do you say? All right. Let me do a little cleanup here. Okay, so card number 3. Let's go ahead and work with this. Now, this is going to be a little messy. So if your desk is a mess like mine, this is a good time to do a little cleanup because we're going to be using some of our texture paste. So texture paste is always a good idea to have a glass of water next to you so you can rinse. So if you don't have, a cup of water, you can just use one of these little cups. I don't necessarily recommend using your good cups, but you can, I guess, right? It's yours. You do what works for you. That already has one monocle. You don't need to put one in there. Just a little cleanup because we're going to be getting into some texture paste here. All right. So is everybody having a good time? I hope so. Are you enjoying what we're making? I hope so. Okay. Excellent, guys. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna make this. So you're gonna need a white piece of cardstock. I'm using 5x7, and you're going to need your little jars that you should have gotten, right? So get your little jars out. You should have gotten a bone. So you're going to be using that as well, right? Okay. And then your bug stamps. Don't forget your bug stamps. All right. So the first thing I want to do before I do anything is I want to grunge this up a little bit. If you know me, I don't like white. I don't like it to be white. So ordinarily what I do is I just grab a used a used brush and I just kind of grunge it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just looking to get rid of that white, right? We're going to be adding a stencil, so don't sweat it. Doesn't have to be perfect, y'all. But just enough to get rid of some of that white. If your fingers are inky, this is a good time to add to the card to grunge it up a little bit. All right, so stencils. This is an oversized stencil, as you can see. So if you want the alchemy to be on it, don't stencil like that. Don't stencil like that. Put it right in the middle, y'all, because you want that to come through, right? And then if you have some masking tape, this is how I do it. I usually put a little at the top so I can flip it up, see what my mistakes are, if there are any. Hopefully not, right? I also can make some adjustments, but I also like to glue my paper down because I don't want it moving on me. So once you figure out, you know, where it needs to go, just put a little tape at the edge, right? Just to kind of hold it in place. It doesn't have to be glued down, right? It doesn't have to, you know, live through a hurricane or an earthquake. You just want to be able to have it not move on you. All right, and so that's good enough for me. All right, so I'm using Solar Paste, and this was gifted to me by Elizabeth. So if Elizabeth is out there, thank you, girl. I had never used Solar Paste before, and I really liked it. I like this color. But if you don't have this, any kind of texture paste will work. The glow in the dark from Tim Holtz works awesome, guys. If you have that, that's a good one to use. The black looks really good as well. And then if you don't have that, just use regular texture paste. So I'm using the Solar Paste. And I've already broke my #1 rule and not get water. So give me a moment. I'm going to go fill this up really quick. All right. So just got some water to put my scraper in, and I also got a paper towel just because we're going to get a little messy here. So I've got my Solar Paste here, and the color that I'm using is Golden Hour. It's a great one. I like this one. So if you've never used texture paste before, there is different consistency with each product. The Solar Paste I find is a little bit thinner than some of the other Tim Holtz texture pastes that I've used. It's very smooth and very creamy. It works really, really well. In fact, I may invest in some more. I just invested in the Olive Tim's paste, his black, his glow in the dark. So that's why I didn't get any more Solar Paste. And I knew his Stampers Anonymous stamp set was going to be coming out. So I had to save my pennies. Okay. Sometimes in the case of his stuff, save my dollars. But it's all right. That's why we work, right? To buy what we want. Okay, so just kind of adding it as I go along. Now, if you don't have one of these small ones, I'm using the small one specifically because it needs to come in here. But if you're the type of person that this just takes too long, I went to Home Depot and I found these scrapers in the home improvement area. Like where the paint is or the spackle, you know. And they were great. Look at this. Watch this. Whoosh, whoosh. So your Home Depots, your, you know, all of your home improvement stores have all sorts of little tools you can use for crafting. This came in a set of 3, and it probably was cheaper than what I paid for my scrapbook.com one. But keep that in mind. It works really, really well. I am just probably taking more time on this than I need to, but that's all right. Okay, so extra paste goes back into the jar for a later date. And then you can wipe this off, of course, you know, with a paper towel. And it's probably good to go, but I'm going to stick it into my water. And wipe that off. I'm going to close this up so it doesn't dry out. And then now for the reveal. All right, the fun part, right? Whoosh. Look how awesome that looks, guys. I'm going to go stick this in water really quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, so yeah, your stencils can be really unforgiving. So I would say don't let them sit too long because they will ruin. So I just wanted to run that under hot water. It was a little bit bigger than, I usually have a tub next to me, but that stencil was a little bit oversized. So I didn't have a tub that would work. And I'm just going to clean this up here before I lift it. You can lift it, of course. It would work to lift it first, Monica, but I'll do this quick first. And then the thing about paste, of course, you have to let it dry. So we're going to set this aside for a minute so it can dry. But see, just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick look how wonderful that looks. So what kind of paste are you guys using? Are you using inks? Are you using paste? What choices did you guys make? I'm going to put mine aside so it will dry. And then I'll do a little cleanup. And then while that's drying, we'll start working on the other card. All right, so let's do a quick cleanup here. I'm getting it all over my fingers. So Cordelia says she used cookie dough. Let me scroll. Lunar paste. Yeah, lunar paste is great. Very smooth, very silky. All right. I think that's good enough, right? Let me okay. All right. So while that's drying, we have it set aside, right? That's going to dry, and then we're going to come back to this. So while that is drying, let's work on our 4th card. And that's going to be our fortune teller. So that one is a favorite of mine. Again, this is a 5x7 card. Glow paste is a great choice, Rhonda. I made some few other cards with the glow paste, and it looks great. All right, so you have a spider stencil in your kit that I request you get out, please, because we're going to be using it. And I'm looking for those of you that didn't do your homework, we are going to need this. But this is what we're going for. So you see your background just has a hint of the spider web, so we don't have to get crazy. But we do want to get some color. So I'm going to go in with vintage tea dye or vintage photo. Either one would work. I'm going to go in with tea dye first. And then I'm going to come back in. All right, so tea dye is kind of a brown base. And let's see what I can get going here. It's blue. Now, I don't have a blending sponge for every color. I use similar colors on similar inks. I know everybody doesn't like to do that, but I'm okay with it. I am not a perfectionist when it comes to crafting. I do it for fun. All right, so I'm just going to come in kind of really light. And you know what? Actually, I lied. Let's use tea dye. Hopefully, you guys didn't start yet. Let's just use tea dye to add some color, and then I'm going to use a darker color for the spider web. So we're just taking away the white with the tea dye or the vintage photo. This is a 5x7 Delina, and I'm just coloring it up. I mean, like I said, I don't have rules. I'm just adding some color, and then I'm going to blend it in. And then we're going to come in with a darker color. All right, so there is my idea of a blend. And then I'm going to come in, see, I got ahead of myself here. So let me see what I was doing. Let's see, that's bigger. I think it was something. There it is. I knew I'd find it. All right. Gonna come in with a darker color now. That's black. I don't want black. I want a vintage photo. Or, better yet, walnut stain. My fingers are dirty. Walnut stain. All right. Let's see what questions we've got here. Okay, so yeah, 5x7 paper. We're going to trim it up. So that's not the color I want to use. Let me get another inker. Now remember, these sponges wash, so you know, if you tend to be like me where you're always grabbing a new one when you don't need to, you know, you can soak these in hot water and soap, and then they're as good as new. All right, so I've got my background, right? And now I'm going to come in with my darker. Doesn't have to be a heavy hand. It's just a shadow. All right, and remember, you've got this to cover a lot of it, so don't sweat it, guys. All right, so once you, my hands are a mess. Once you get your stenciled spider web, can't speak, I'm going to trim this just a bit, not a lot. So I always start out with oversized, even if I know I'm going to go smaller. This was a 5x7, and I'm going to cut off. I'm going to cut off 1/4 of an inch, I believe, on each side. So yeah, I'm okay with that. 1/4 of an inch on each side, and then 1/4 of an inch on the bottom. And 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to actually do, yeah, on the bottom and the top, just to make it look a little bit more organic. All right. There we go. And then, like I always do, I come in with, where's my inker? Use this. I'm going to come in with dark on the edges, and this is where I just come in really, really deep. I like to just kind of add that. Okay. All right. And then this is the piece that you guys would have made ahead of time. It's going to go right there. But before you do that, make sure you size up where your fortune teller is going to go. Okay. So we're going to mat this onto some designer paper. I don't think, let me see here. Yeah, it won't quite fit on the paper I gave you, so you may have to find your own background paper. So I just kind of grab this. If you don't have designer paper that will work, you can use black. Black cardstock is fine. Okay, let me look at where we're at with time. It is 1:41. We're doing well. So this ends at 3, so we've got an hour and about 15 minutes, which is plenty of time. Okay. And this designer paper is 5x7. All right, I'm going to just trim it just a bit, because I don't necessarily like it to hang off the side of my card, and sometimes I just need a little trim. And again, I'm talking just a little bit. So I'm starting out at 5. So just kind of watch your line, you know, and just trim off a little bit on each side. So when you put it on your 5x7 card base, you know, you have a little bit of white showing. Now, if you don't want white showing, then don't do this part. Again, it's completely up to you. This is just kind of my approach. But do what works for you. All right. So here we go. So is everybody good so far? Getting ready to add my fortune teller. Okay, so this is going to go at the bottom right here. And then this goes right there. So kind of eyeball it before you commit. Okay. And then depending on your, let's just kind of figure this out here. So this is going to go here, right? We're going to add some ink around that. And then I added this because I thought it might be kind of fun to add a little sign. You don't have to, but do what makes you happy. All right, so that's kind of the layout. I need to find an image. So not everybody was going to be able to get a fortune teller like this, just because I'd have to give you all a full pack, and that would have increased the price of the class, and I didn't want to do that. So I tried to be strategic in the pieces I gave you so that they would work. So find, it doesn't, you know, there's lots of ways a fortune teller can look, right? I mean, they don't have to necessarily be like the one I just showed you. I mean, any of these creepy women I think would work great. You know, that would work well. So when I was completing the kits, I tried to, you know, I tried to keep that in mind. See, this is a good one too. She kind of looks kind of creepy. Let me see what I got here. I think I gave some of you guys this little one too, if you even wanted to go small. Let's see what else I got. So yeah, so even the little gypsy girls would be cute. So just figure out what works for you. But not everybody, of course, is able to get a gypsy. It doesn't work out that way. She kind of looks like a gypsy too, right? So yeah, so there's lots of choices. Choose wisely. All right, so I have a few choices here. And of course, if you have your own paper dolls, you know, dig into your own. All right, so okay, this is kind of standing out for me. Huh. Maybe another one. All right, that would be interesting, right? Okay. All right, so is everybody good so far? I'm going to, I gotta figure, I think I'm going to use this lady here for mine. So she's not going to be sitting, she'll be standing. But actually, I kind of want one that sits. Let me see. Maybe I'll use them. Maybe I'll use them instead. All right. So, all right, so let's start gluing this down here. So, of course, our fortune teller goes first. Is everybody good? I know several of you said you had not finished your homework for this particular piece. So that will kind of stop you in your tracks, right? But that's why it's important to do your homework. You can't find anything. I can relate, Cordelia. I can relate to that. All right, so this is a heavy piece. Yeah, when we make cards, we tend to end up with a mess, don't we? All right, so now depending on where you're going to place your paper doll. Isn't that a fantastic piece, though? I love that. But before we go any further, I just came up with an idea. If you have these little brads, I'm going to put 4 brads here. I didn't include these in your kit because I just thought of it right now. Okay. So, let's see. This paper is pretty thick. 1, 2. Ooh, that's thick. All right, let's put those 2 first. Okay, so there's 1, 2. If you hear any snoring in the background, that's my French Bulldog, Max. Apparently, he's tired and he needs a nap. All right, there we go. There's 4. Okay. So, again, I just kind of thought of this last minute, but if you have any brads, that would be a good addition as well. And the 4th one. There we go. Okay. And now, God, my hands are a mess. Now we can place our little characters. So depending on, you know, don't commit too quickly. Figure out what your placement is going to be. And then do your gluing, right? So something like that maybe. And then my fortune teller can go, you know, here. So I think that's going to be my layout, you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and glue this down. Before we add that, we probably should kind of figure out this placement. I'm adding my ink around the edges because, again, I don't like white. Okay, so let's just do this at the same time. Okay, so this will go here, right? Just kind of scooching. And then that will go about right there, right? And that can go behind. And then this is going to get covered a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I mean, if you want to, you know, just adjust it based on what you want to see. Let's see if I can get these girls underneath this brad. Like I said, if you don't use the brad, I mean, I can still go over it a little farther, right? There we go. And I don't like that. Something like that. And then this, again, I've got movement because I've got that wet glue I'm playing with. And then this will just go underneath like this. Perfect. All right, so there's my placement, guys. Still kind of fussing with it. There we go. So is everybody good with the fortune teller card? Any questions before we go back to our alchemy card? Give it a minute here. I'll hang out. See what everybody is saying, chit-chatting about. Still working? Okay, good, good. All right. So we are in good shape. We still have an hour and we only have 1 more card. So I'm going to let everybody get a minute to catch up. I'm going to get a base here. right, so I've got my 5x7 base. My desk is a mess, so I'm trying to be careful here. Let's see if I can put an oversized piece. All right. And then I'm going to get my ink just to get rid of some of that white that might be showing. Okay. All right. And then we're going to add it to our card base. Easy peasy, right? Okay. Let's stick this puppy down. Here we go. And you see what I mean about having just a little bit of white space? I just think it looks classy that way, but that's me. All right. And there's card number 3, guys. All right, so just to kind of recap, we just finished our fortune teller card. And then these are the other 2 cards that we made, right? So now we're going to go ahead and pop it back to our alchemy card. And we might have time to even fit in a 5th card if we're lucky, right? Okay, so I have this little straight blade that I have hanging around my desk because it works great with glues, with texture paste. You know, when all that stuff dries, it's a great little scraper. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of scraping up all the extra gunk on my media mat. So just give me a moment. Just doing a quick cleanup, and then we will finish the alchemy card. Working. Excellent. It is a working session, ladies, so keep working. Keep it going. All right. There. Look at all that gunk we got up. All right. So careful, though. It is a straight blade. Okay. So can you show the fortune teller card again? Absolutely, I can. Yeah, let me grab it. There you go. We'll give that a minute. So, yeah, so this is your piece you would have made for your homework, you know, before. And then this is your fortune teller label that was part of your printable, part of your printable, part of your printable, and then your paper doll. Excellent. All right. Alchemy. So your alchemy card should be nice and dry by now. If not, you may have to take a drying tool to it. But really, I mean, mine's dry, so hopefully yours is dry as well. Now, where is... All right. So this is what we're going to make, guys. I just wanted to give you guys an idea. So you're going to want to trim off a little bit. So it will fit on a 5x7. So this one is 5x7. I think I'm going to keep it 5x7 because it is a bigger image. And I'm just going to trim off what's going to be, let me think. It's going to be 1/4 of an inch. Yeah. All right. I had to think about that a minute. So that, and then let's try to keep it even, Monica. There's that. And then we'll just kind of eyeball that one. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of these white edges, right? Because that's what I do. If we have enough time, ladies, you guys want to make a passport card? Because I can make those in my sleep. And we got paper, right? We have paper and we have ephemera. So we can easily make a Halloween passport card. I mean, it's barely 2 o'clock, so I think we'll have time. I think we will have time. All right, so this is going to be our base that we're going to work with. Now I'm going to get out my spritz. And I've said this before, when it first came out, do we cut off all 4 around? A fourth of a round. So you want to end up with, no, Rhonda, you want to end up with this being a 1/4 of an inch. So if you want to just cut one side, I cut like a little bit here and then the rest to make up the 1/4 of an inch. And then I just cut off a 1/4 of an inch on the bottom. So it's just a 1/4 of an inch. So when you layer it on your 5x7, you have a little bit showing. I hope that makes sense. Rhonda, I don't know what 9 means, so you have to tell me. All right, so walnut stain. This is the Distress Spritz. When it first came out, was not a fan. Was thinking, nah, I don't need that. I love it. I love it because it is just enough. Now, I'm not one of those people that has to go out and buy the whole set, but I did get the weathered wood because that's more of a gray and it's just enough for a background. And then, of course, my favorite color is the walnut stain. So these aren't very expensive either, guys. So it's nice. Your fingernails are too long. Oh, boy. Okay, so let's glue this down. Let's glue this down. Okay. And got some movement with that wet glue. There you go. And then I'm going to just take some of this spritz and just see what it does. Love it. We gotta let it dry a minute though. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry a minute. I'm gonna get another card base, and let me do a quick clean here. Hopefully everybody's good. I think you hit your other card. Okay, so this is going to go on a 5x7, right? With spritz. Oh, did I? I might have, but that's okay, right? It kind of goes with it. I see what you're saying. Okay, so this is going to go on your 5x7. We're not going to do that yet, but I just kind of wanted to show you. That's funny. But you know what? I like the grunge, so that's good. It was intended, Tina. Okay, so these you should have hopefully cut out, right? And you see they're going to kind of just go like this. something like this, something, something. And then the little bone is gonna kind of go like that. So that's what we're working towards. Now, as far as your label, Collector of Curiosities, mine is, that's the one I'm using, and that's the one that I kind of intended for this one. So use what you want, though. I'm not one to tell you have to use anything. But I'm using Collector of Curiosities. Could use parlor games. Parlor games, I think, will work for the for some of your other cards as well, you know, but parlor games would work for this one as well. Poison and magic would also work. So gave you guys lots of choices. I'm using Collector of Curiosities because I think it works well. Putting that down first just for my balance, right? And then we've got to get out our bug stamps. Okay, so the bug stamps, you guys, like I said, I did not give you the Tim Holtz bug stamps, which is what I have, but I did give you some bug stamps that will work great. The card that I made, I used mine, but just pick out some bugs. They're going to go in our bottles. Bugs make great backgrounds as well, so lots of things you can do with the bugs. You can stamp bugs onto your little squares also. If you want to put them on your cards, that would be cool. All right, so going to stamp some bugs. Let's see what we got. So got that there. Let's see what I got. Maybe a moth, right? Kind of be whatever you want. Okay, so there's a moth that I stamped in there. What else do I want? Maybe an ant, right? We use black for that, though. Ants, well, I guess it could be a red ant, right? Boy, red ants hurt, though. Ooh, I used my Distress ink. I knew I shouldn't have done that because that's not necessarily a great stamping ink. So let's swap this out. Okay. There we go. That's better. I could probably fit another ant in there, huh? Okay. All right. So there's one bottle. My bugs. And let's see what's in my other bottle. This one, I think I did the ladybug. Whoops. Ladybug. So I'll do red for that one. Okay, so just stamping some bugs, right? Okay, so there's a ladybug. Ooh, a bee. I wonder if a ladybug and a bee would get along. Maybe this collector of curiosities is crossbreeding. So what do you get when you get a bee and a ladybug? A lady bee? I don't know. Who knows, right? All right, so let's see if we can add a little black to that. So I'm just going to go oh so lightly on this. Let's see if we can just maybe add a little black. All right, something like that. All right, and then, I don't know, something small maybe. I want to do another ant, do I? A fly? I guess I could do a fly. That was a bee. So that's the bee. I think, I don't know what this is. I'll try this one though. We'll do that in black. How's that? So that'll be a colorful one. Okay. I mean, I almost could put this up here too, right? So that is going to be, that's going to be a full house. All right. So there's your bugs. Now, if you don't want to use bugs, you could put, if you have eyeballs, if you have, okay, I don't know where it's at, but if you bought that set that has the skeleton, I think I still have some in the shop. I don't know where it's at. You can put eyeballs, you can put arms, you know, you can put whatever you want in your glass jar. How's that? It's your choice. I know, Robin. Choices. Are they close? Yeah, they looked pretty close. I don't think they're exactly the same though. But again, bugs are bugs, right? I mean, I don't think they're not the deep rubber like Tim's, but bugs will be bugs. That's right, Robin. Okay. Now, another idea, if you chose not to do the texture paste, if it was just flat, right, you can, and this was my very first one, you can just use ink through your stencil and then you can stamp bugs on the outside. So that's also another idea if you wanted to do that. You don't have to use texture paste. Okay, so now that we have our stamped bugs, let's go ahead and layer these. What do you say? Got to move along because I want to see if we can get a passport card made too. All right, so let's glue this down. And then that one's going to go. Love that movement, glue. All right, and then this is going to go here. And by the way, this glue is in my shop, so if you do need some, it's really great. I really like it. I shop my own shop. Okay, and then of course your femur bone. I lost my bone. What did I do with my bone? It's around here somewhere. Okay. Okay, I lost my bone. Just there. I wonder if I could do something like that. Look at that, guys. You could even put like a little label right there if you wanted to. Put that right there. I like that. I'm stalling because I can't find my bone. Got a bone to pick with you. All right, so it's around here somewhere. Okay, I don't know where it's at. Yes, Tamara, it will be available for replay. As soon as the class is finished, I'll download it and make it available to y'all. So absolutely. Okay, so you guys have this bone in your kit, which goes right here. I can't find mine, so we're gonna pretend that I put mine on it. And then all you gotta do is glue this. You're welcome, Tamara. Thank you. All you gotta do is glue this to your card base, right? So let's do that, and then let's move on to a passport card. I'm sure when I clean up, I'll find that femur bone. Check with Max. You think he? Yeah, he might be chewing on the bone, right? That's good, Robin. It's a nice thing about printables, though, right? If I've lost it, I can always print out another one. Okay, so this is just going to go right onto my 5x7 card. And there you go. There you go. All right. So, you guys, we've made our 4 planned cards. Let's bring them out again, right? And of course, this one has, pretend this has a bone on it. I just couldn't find it in my junk here. So we made the fortune teller, we made the alchemy, and then we made these 2 here. So we have 45 minutes. So I think what we're going to do is to give you the full 3 hours, we're going to make a passport card. Now, if you've never worked with me, why not? Why have you not been following me on my YouTube channel? I am live every Sunday, most Sundays, I should say, not every Sunday. And we do tutorials, and we do cards, and we do projects, and we have a lot of fun. So if you are not following me on my YouTube channel, be sure to check it out. You can find all of my links over on my website. And I will give you the link. I can't type. Taylormadecards4u.com is where you can find all of my links, and you can check out the shop as well. Remember, if you enjoy digitals, I do have a coupon code that I sent out earlier. I think it's creative. I want to remind myself. And you can be a Backstage Pass member and get printables for a full year as part of your membership. All right, and look what I just found. So let's glue that on really quick. I knew I'd find it. Backstage passes get all of the digitals in the shop for free. Yep. Exactly, Robin. You know very well, Cordelia. is another user of the Backstage Pass. So yeah, all the digitals in the shop, and I keep adding to them, right? It's not just like it's a stagnant, it's not a stagnant supply. I add to it. So you had an opportunity to get a printable with this, so you can see what the quality is. It's very good. So yeah, it's definitely a good deal. And that's really how I'm able to do free classes, is by the support of the website. The website by no means is free. So it helps me to be able to offer these free classes. So any type of assistance you can give me, I appreciate it. All right, so enough of that. Let's go ahead and create a passport card. All right, so I wanted to show you what a passport card is. This is a passport card, all right? So this is one of the designs I did. This one, actually, I made a little bookmark to go on it, but this essentially is our passport card. It's a 3-page card, and you can use lots of ephemera, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to use our ephemera that we got in our kit and our paper. So let me just pop this back on here to get it out of the way. All right, so you want to start out with your card's going to be 5. Sometimes I forget. Am I frozen? I hope not. I hope I'm not frozen. I hope I'm good, guys. All right, so I'm going to continue on. I don't know. All right, anyway. So your card is going to be 5 inches tall. So let's do that first. Yeah. So get your cardstock and do 5, cut right at 5. Okay. And then, yep. And then you're going to need a scoreboard. All right. All right. And I'm going to choose it. Melody, I think it might be you, girl. All right. So we're going to take our scoreboard and we're going to score right at, gosh, like right at 3. Okay. So let's do that. Let me see here. Let me make sure that's what I want to do. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Had to think about that. Right at 3, okay? And then you can fold that over. And then, when it's folded over, you want to cut off 4. So this is an easy way to not have to get out your big trimmer, right? The card is going to be, let me cut this and then we'll talk about the size, Rhonda. Okay, so when you end up with the card, it's going to be 7 by 5, all right? 7 by 5 is what you're going to end up for your base, and then you're going to score it at 3. And this is going to be your base right here, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And then you're going to kind of, this is the card, right? You're going to rotate it. And then you're going to score right at, let me see here, right at 2 inches, I guess, something like that. Let's go with 2. I like to scrap the seat of my pants here. All right, so let's go at 2. I haven't made a passport card in a few weeks, so I got to remember how to do this. All right, so now that we have that, we're gonna cut this. Is everybody with me so far? So let's cut this. Okay. And just trim off the excess. You want this to be straight. Okay. And if you don't like the harsh edges, if you have one of these sanding discs, these work great. You can sand off some of the excess right there too. Okay. All right. So that's your base. And then for the middle portion, I want to say, let's figure this out real quick here. Yeah, it's 4. So cut at 4 inches, all right, for your middle panel. Okay, and then you're going to see. You're going to score ½ inch. So I'll show you what I just did. Just give me a moment. I should have scored the other side. That's all right. So ultimately, it's going to look like this. So we need to cut this down to 4. I'll give you all the measurements in just a moment. Like I said, I wasn't planning on doing a passport card, so I had to remember how to do one. And is that... Okay, it's a little bit smaller. So 4½. So you want to cut, not happy with that. Let me do that again. Let me do this again. Here. Bear with me, guys. I will give you all the measurements in just a minute. Okay, that's better. All right. So this is what ultimately what you're going to end up with. And I apologize. I wasn't prepared to do a passport card, but we're just winging it. So this is 7 by 5. All right. And it's scored at 3. You're going to flip it. You're going to do a little score at 2, and you're going to cut out your pocket. This is 4 by 4½. All right. The long side is 4½. So at the 4 inch, you're going to score it, giving you 3½, score ½ inch, and that's going to be your pocket. This is the base of your card. Is everybody clear on that? I know it took us a minute to get there. Okay, excellent. And then I like to round my corners. And now we're ready to decorate, guys. Now you can do moderation on this. The reason I do 5 is because sometimes this is a little bit bulky, but you could go 5.5 if you wanted to, if you're going to be mailing it. Just keep in mind, I typically add ephemera into my passport cards, so they tend to get a little bit bulky. So you can moderate. You have some alternate sizes if you want to, but that's typically how I do my passport card. And then this is what your card will look like. Okay, so now all you got to do is decorate. So pulling out your paper stash, right? Choose. Love that haunted house. But I think that would look great on this one. So this will be my second page here. So just pull out some paper. If you want to stick with a certain color combination, maybe I'll just do more of a darker color on mine. Let's see. Ooh, love this. Love the moon too. So here, that's what I'm going to use for mine. All right. So this is going to be my cover right here. So it's just a matter of I don't typically measure things out. This is how I measure. Kind of put my paper there, and then I just do little marks. That's how I measure. So I will trim this. And I like to, so there's my mark. I like to trim it a little bit smaller than the mark so I have some white space. Okay. And then of course, round your corners where they need to be rounded. If you need to trim a little bit more, you can do that as well. I think I want a little bit more off the top, so that's what I'm doing. And then we will glue this. Is everybody good so far? I know many of you are still working on your other cards, which is completely fine. I just want to give you a full 3 hours of crafting. So there's that right there. I'll let that dry. This is going to be card number 2. So let's go ahead and figure out what we need. All right, not card number 2, page number 2. So just kind of, I am not a precise crafter. So you guys hopefully can see that by now. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. So here is page 2, right? And of course you can be adding ink along the way, right? And then glue it. All right. Okay. Everybody good? Now, before you put the back page on the paper, you want to glue this down. Okay. So add your glue here. And then just kind of butt it up to the edge right there. Make sure it's all aligned. And then you're going to need to give it a minute to dry. But see how that haunted house comes through? And, you know, it's always nice to have coordinating colors. It just looks good once the card is finished. Now, look at that. See, I can already see this going right here, Foolish Mortals. I know that's where that's going to go. So let me trim this. This is going to go right there. And this was part of your printables, these little digitals here that we hopefully cut out. Love it. All right, so this is pretty good. Right now we can put our last page, and these are the moons. You're gonna go right there. I love it. Fantastic. All right, let's see. Again, my precise measuring, right? Oh boy. And then we'll do a little trim. Right. Okay. Let's see. And that's going to go right here. Get some of that white off. Okay. And then don't forget to round your corners. Okay. Everybody good? And we'll put this right here. Oh, you know what? I should have tested that. I need to trim a little bit more. Let's see how straight I can cut. Not too straight. Let me dry that glue because I don't want that sticking onto my cutter. All right, so I need to cut a little bit more. There we go. So test it before you add the glue. Make sure it's the size you want. Don't do what I just did. Okay. And I will add this. That's pretty good, pretty good. Might be a little crooked, but you guys get the idea, right? You know, it's bothering me. Okay. I know I say I'm not a perfectionist, but I want this to be straight. So let's try round 3 here. So I'll pay more attention. This is going to be like that. And then this is going to be, all right. So I actually paid attention to my lines. Let's see. Still need to cut a little bit more off of this. Okay. Now let's round the corners one more time. There we go. Now this is how I ordinarily craft when I'm not on camera. It's about trial and error. And like I said, this is a bonus card, so I was not prepared to make it. That's why I'm having to refigure out my measurements. Okay, there we go. That works for me. Whew, took us a minute to get there. Okay, so now you have basically the general layout of the card. You're going to want to obviously decorate the other side. Okay, and we still have time, so we can do that. But what I also like to do is I like to put a little pocket here sometimes. Now you don't have to do that, but I mean, you can, right? Inside your kit, you have this. That would be kind of fun, right? Doesn't really match, though, but it would work. I mean, I guess you can, right? I don't know. You can do whatever you want. I'm just showing you ideas, different things that I do with my passport cards. If you want to leave it just like that, you can. You can also put, you know, little stickers on top. And let me look at my other bag. Again, I gave you a few of these black labels, but if you want the full set, you can go to my website. Let's see, what do I have here? I like that 13 cents. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see. Or Mr. Bones. Ooh, that's a good one, Mr. Bones. Foolish mortals toil and trouble. That would be good too, right? Gravedigger. Ooh, I like that one. Let's do Gravedigger. All right. So I'm going to put 3 labels. If you have, you know, stamps, you can add stamp labels, you know, whatever you want. Now we're just decorating it. So you can decorate it however you want. And then I'm going to dig into my ephemera bag here. You guys that bought the kit have the ephemera, but of course, if you don't have the ephemera, there's some ephemera in my shop. Let's see. Do a happy Halloween. I don't want to cover my skeleton though. Ooh, look at that. That's kind of fun. So when you get the ephemera, of course, it has the edging. If you want to cut closer to it, sometimes I like my edges to be a little closer, so you can do that as well, which is what I'm doing here. It's just a fussy cut, right? Easy enough. Is everybody doing good? Okay. Just fussy cutting this a little closer to the actual image. Because I can. It's perfectly fine the way it was, but I just wanted it a little closer. And then I'm going to add, you know, my ink. And remember, you guys are going to get the video, so you can always, you know, stop it along the way. So don't feel like you have to memorize everything. Okay, so we'll put this little key right there. This is part of the ephemera pack, right? What else do I have here? And there's lots of things you can use. I saw something that said poison. Oh, there it is. I think I'm going to put poison right here. Poison. Oof. See, that looks great, right? Oh man, look at that. So I don't want to cover that house. And you know, you don't, oh, you know what? We can put maybe a paper doll. I forgot about my paper dolls. How could I possibly forget about my paper dolls? Right? Let's see. This desk is a mess. All right, so I think we're going to put a small person. Oh, look at her. So she's like in the foreground, right? She's not bigger than the house. But maybe I have a smaller one. Let's see what I have here. Yeah, I got some smaller ones. They're not necessarily the Halloween ones, but shoot, we could make something work, right? Let's see. Kind of want to use a child, but see what I got. Let me see what I got. They're not sitting on anything, though. That's the thing. I'm just digging through my paper dolls here to see what I got. Let's see. Oh, that's it. Look at that one. Okay, we found it. All right. Yeah, bats would be great. So, you know, after we're done, I'm going to have to dig into my ephemera pieces to add more embellishments. But so that's going to go right there. That's fantastic. Look at that. What a great choice, right? I'll leave these out in case we need them. All right, so you've got that. You've got the witches. Trying to see, what do we want to do? Maybe we'll just put, ooh, look at that. Maybe we'll just put a portrait. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's pretty good. Maybe we'll just do, lots and lots of choices. Ooh, look at that one. Grave digger. Okay, I like this guy. Okay, so put the balloon guy. Yes, Robin, I think so too. Yes, ma'am. We're thinking the same. The balloon guy. All right. Too funny. That's the one I grabbed. Okay. Yes. Excellent. I like it. Funny, funny, funny. All right. And then let's see. Now, if you want to, sometimes I do this. I don't know if I'm going to. You can make a little tab there, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. So we can do that there. And then when we decorate this, you know, you can put a happy Halloween. I mean, we've got 15 more minutes, so maybe we'll decorate. But you guys get the idea, right? I mean, for the passport card, it's just a matter of getting the base and then decorating it. So let's see if we can finish up here. So that's perfect size. Look at that. All right, so let's the balloon guy. That's so funny, Robin, that you and I had the same idea. this will go right here, right? Yep, yep. Okay, so that will go there. And then let's see, do we want to do like a, maybe we'll do Happy Halloween here with this guy. I mean, that would work, I think, right? So yeah, let's do that. Let's see, what else do we have here to play with? Okay, so let's do this. So this one will go here. Stephen King's, oh yeah, right. That's a scary one. With that clown and the balloons, for sure. All right, so it's testing. Let's cut a little bit more. Okay, and then this is actually has like a chandelier. Can barely see it, but it's kind of cool. And it doesn't go like that. Nah, what? Let me see here. It goes like that, right? I'm trying to figure out. No, it goes like this. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It's getting covered. It's going the way I cut my my circles here. If it's upside down, I'm fine with that. Okay, so we're gonna put this guy, but let me trim this up just a bit more. We're almost done, guys, and then we'll just chit chat a little bit. Now remember, I will be sending out the video as soon as I download it. So after the class, I'm going to take a break, get some lunch, and then I will download it and email it to everybody. So that way you can refer to it. And again, these are just my own ideas. I'm just sharing with you, you know, some of my creativity and my inspiration. A lot of it I learn from just playing. Not everything is a masterpiece. You can attest to that by looking in my trash can. But that's how we perfect our craft, right? Is by practice. Okay. Just going to add some color to this so it's not all white. And then this is going to be the Happy Halloween. Let's just get some color to this. So we'll put this first. Right? So, and then if we have to adjust it, we will. Oops. Got away from me. Okay. And then I want to make sure I can see the Happy Halloween. So just the wet glue really helps out with that. Pretty good. So we've got that, we've got this. Let's see what we can do here. Oh man, look at that one. I don't know, maybe it's lighter. Maybe we'll do with her head sticking out, right? Oh man. Maybe we'll put these two here. I like them. Okay, so they will go here. So a combination of paper dolls and ephemera, but you can certainly use the ephemera pack for everything on this card. And then the back. Now, I like to do the back. I guess you don't have to, but I just think it kind of finishes off the card. I think it looks great. So I will finish off the back. We've got 5 minutes. So I would add it to the back, and then ultimately, once you get the card done, I do come through with my distress ink. Okay. So just ink it up. Be generous. Don't be afraid. All right. So that's it, everybody. Let me go ahead and share with you the cards that we made here today. So, and then where's the other one? The fortune teller. All right. So we have the, these two 5x7 cards that we made. And then we made these two A10 cards, or A2 cards, I should say. And then we made a bonus card. We made a passport card. So I hope everybody enjoyed the class today. Let me switch up. We can chit chat a minute here. Let's see. There we go. Whew! Look at my hair. It's a mess. A crafting tornado came through here. So let me go ahead and stop the recording, and then we can chit chat a minute here. All right. So thanks everybody for attending. This does complete all of the cards. I am going to go ahead and stop recording now, and then we can chit chat a minute. So thank you everybody for attending.